From the North Country's news station, 7 News Tonight starts now.
Tonight on 7 News, addressing drug use in the Watertown City School District. We speak with one school board member who says education, not punishment, could be the answer. Plus, we go on post with our own Jon Kubis to take a look at how the Air Force is helping to predict weather patterns right here in the North Country. And residents are rallying against a proposed rock quarry in the 3 Mile Bay area. We hear from them and why they are up in arms about the proposed site. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Zach Grady. Garrett Domblewski is off tonight. U.S. officials flew back from Mexico tonight after holding meetings to deal with the escalating migrant crisis at the U.S. southwestern border. Another caravan of thousands of migrants is set out from southern Mexico for the U.S. this week. CBS News correspondent Nicole Skanga reports on the talks from Washington.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador greeted U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, as they try to make headway on the escalating numbers of migrants flowing through Mexico on their way to the U.S. They include hundreds trying to get warm along train tracks in the Mexican city of Chihuahua. Mexican officials stopped the trains they were traveling on top of as they try to stem the flow of some of the migrants. Venezuelan migrant Haley Peraza is among them. This is really hard, she says about her journey that started 3 months ago. But officials have done little to stop others, like this group of an estimated 8,000 migrants, many from Central America and Venezuela, currently heading north in Mexico. As many as 10,000 migrants a day have approached the U.S. southern border this month. Blinken was in Mexico to ask for more help. López Obrador says he's willing if the U.S. supplies additional aid to the countries the migrants are fleeing. Cities housing thousands of the migrants who do enter the U.S. say they don't have enough resources.
We expect the surge to intensify in the coming days and weeks.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced an executive order requiring charter buses transporting migrants to provide 32 hours notice before they reach the city.
We cannot allow buses with people needing our help to arrive without warning at any hour of day and night.
New York City has taken in more than 150,000 migrants in less than 2 years. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Washington.
Watertown School Board member Millie Smith says there is been a long problem with drugs in school hallways, claiming there are sometimes sold in those hallways. The issue is part of why she ran for the board. We learn more tonight about the problem and how Smith hopes a different approach can help fix those problems. 7 News reporter Sandy Torres with the details.
The weed problem is atrocious.
Watertown City School District Board member Millie Smith says for years marijuana and vaping have roamed the halls of Watertown High School and Case Middle School.
You can smell it on the clothes, you can smell it in the hallways. So we've had some stories of kids saying that, they're doing transactions.
Smith says there's a line of communication between students, which is making it easier for them to access drugs, and the transactions are being tracked down.
Kids were saying that they have cryptic messaging on their Chromebooks. The school's in the process of collecting Chromebooks.
Recently, the district installed vaping sensors to also help combat this drug issue. So what happens when a student is caught vaping or with weed? District officials say an educational punishment system is in place, meaning students undergo a process that's meant to teach them the negative side effects of drugs. Soon, students themselves, through a student youth court, will be able to decide on a punishment. For instance, an essay on the side effects of vaping. Smith says besides the youth court, other measures the district is implementing is a partnership with drug prevention and education group Pivot to create a safer learning environment.
As a school board, we're addressing this in a positive manner. We need to look at options instead of kicking kids out to the street and suspending them.
Smith hopes this alternate approach to dealing with the district's drug problem will bring down drug use by students. Sandy Torres, 7 News.
We'll head to the Weather Center now with Jon Kubis and get a first look at our forecast.
Hey, Zach, rather mild outside right now, and we're seeing some rain showing up on the maps. Bit of a cool down heading our way in just a couple of days for the upcoming weekend, and because of that, we will be dealing with some weekend snow showers, primarily on Saturday, but potentially on Sunday as well. All right, let's check the maps. First weather brought to you by Doors Plus and Adams Center. And there you see the green showing up, all the heaviest precipitation, generally speaking, down towards New Jersey. And I think that's where it'll remain overnight tonight and tomorrow as well. So we'll talk more about that and a whole lot more in a bit. But first off, a few weeks ago, Zach, I had the opportunity to visit with the Air Force personnel out on Fort Drum.
Yeah, and we're going to learn a little bit more about that right now, John, as you get to take us on post and learn about Wheeler-Sachs Air Force and the Air Force members predicting the weather here in the North Country.
When you joined the Air Force, did you think you'd be stationed at an Army base doing Army support?
I did not.
In fact, most people are surprised to see these airmen at Fort Drum.
They notice us, and you get to the checkout counter, or you'll get to your medical appointment, and you just see, oh, I didn't know there were Air Force people here. What are you doing here? And it's just, it's how it goes for us. Yes, they should be airborne currently. Okay.
These airmen are part of the 18th Combat Weather Squadron, Detachment 1, tasked with providing weather support to the 10th Mountain Division at Fort Drum. There are only about 40 of them stationed here. That's along with another Air Force detachment of about 100.
Observation and their task.
From this airfield weather shop come all of the watches, warnings, and advisories for post.
To protect and make aware the civilians on the installation of any kind of incoming weather, whether that's thunderstorms, lake effect snow, heavy winds, hail, lightning, you name it.
You will have the potential for icing.
Another part of their job, briefing pilots and air crews.
Come through with that potential for snow, rain-snow mix.
And they answer dozens of calls a day from Wheeler-Sachs Army Airfield.
They will contact us, get the weather update, see what's going on, and our job is to make sure that we give them the most up-to-date information that we possibly can so that they can make the most educated decision whether or not to fly.
Primarily, they help with the Army's 10th Combat Aviation Brigade, but sometimes they'll brief other pilots. Could be civilian or Air Force. Some calls are urgent, coming from medevac, pilots transporting patients to local hospitals.
Once that phone rings, you answer it, and they're saying medevac, you get them the most essential information and get some of their information, and then you just kind of do it.
Wheeler-Sachs has one of the largest airstrips in the Northeast. When we were there, we saw a flight of Canadian F-18s come in, A-10s and helicopters taking off. These airmen helping them out. But it's not just about supporting what's in the air. Another job of the detachment is supporting Army ground operations and training.
With the brigade combat teams, it's unique in the way that you have to kind of approach it from the ground standpoint. So you have to be able to think like your customer and plug in with the ground force commanders essentially to, for example, something that would kind of be unique with the brigade combat teams is trafficability. We want to make sure that the customer can either drive or walk to wherever the target is. So for a lot of times, snowfall totals and whatnot are going to be critical for us.
Sometimes they even go out to the field with them. Army soldiers side by side with the Air Force.
We'll sleep with them, we'll sit there and eat MREs with them, and fight the bugs if it's the right time of year, fight the inclement weather, and we're out there with them 24/7 for normally, I'd say, a week and a half to 2 weeks at a time before we come back. But we're able to do our job out there in the field. We're not just out there having fun with them, we're actually forecasting the weather and enabling training operations out there in the field.
They say the most challenging part of forecasting at Fort Drum, lake effect snow and the winter weather in general. They have to be precise.
1 degree, yeah, can change anything.
It could go from liquid rain to freezing rain to snow or ice pellets. And those compose, depending on what's actually fallen, compose a significant threat to aircraft operations.
And while working with the Army may not be what these airmen expected when they signed up, they say it's a unique opportunity.
You get to plug in with units that you otherwise would never have exposure to, and you get to go places that you would otherwise never be able to go to.
That was 7 News' own Jon Kubis reporting. A water boil mandate has been sent out to residents of both the village and the town of Messina. This comes after a water main ruptured in the Grass River Wednesday morning inside the village. Public Works Superintendent Marty Miller says this is not the first time this has happened, and given the location of the break, the superintendent is bringing in a dive team to complete repairs.
That's what they do. They're dives. It's at the bottom of the riverbed. Obviously, we can't get to it. So the dive team comes in, they'll repair whatever's got to be repaired and get us back up and running.
Residents still have water as it is being diverted through other water pipes, but it does need to be boiled for safety. Miller says residents can expect by Friday for their water to return to normal. A number of residents are rallying against a proposed rock quarry in the 3 Mile Bay area. The operation, which would take up to 15 and a half acres, would be in Point Peninsula and would be to mined limestone. Some residents are concerned about the impact it will have on day-to-day life, particularly when it comes to noise. Others are concerned about the impact it will have on property resale value and the environment. So far, a petition denouncing the project has picked up over 800 signatures.
We have 8 homes on Pine Woods Road that will be greatly impacted by blast, by noise, by dust. And along with the noise, they will be using equipment from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Before the project can proceed, it has to be approved by the Town of Lyme's Planning Board. The property owner has submitted an application for a special use permit. That application will be reviewed on January 2nd. Still to come tonight, Mel Busler's got your North Country Sports Report, including all of the action on the hardwood this holiday.
Hey, Zach, we're heading to the Coffeen Street campus for some high school hoops. That's story in sports.
Plus, we continue our look back at the year that was. Lexi Bruning has all the ups and downs that was the economy of the North Country in 2023 when 7 News continues.
From the North Country's news station, you're watching 7 News Tonight with Garrett Domblewski. Tonight's weather with Jon Kubis. And your North Country sports with Mel Busler.
Your winning Wednesday lotto numbers, the evening daily numbers, 655, and the win 4, 0455. We continue our look back at last year tonight. As 7 News reported, Lexi Bruning has all the ups and downs that was the economy in the North Country in 2023.
In 2023, some businesses boomed, one of them to the tune of a $31 million contract with the U.S. Coast Guard. Metalcraft Marine employees rejoiced, and so did members of the North Country.
You know, you may be selling to the federal government, but the money stay local. So people are able to spend and buy here, buy homes, raise families. And there's really no better place to do so than the North Country.
Despite the contract, 2023 wasn't all smooth sailing for Metalcraft. Later in the year, the company was disqualified from receiving a state contract. However, the battle isn't over. The first pot shops opened up in the North Country after weed was legalized in 2021. From Black River Supply in West Carthage to Potsdam, where we saw the grand opening of Firehouse and the Highest Peak.
We're really proud of all the hard work that we've put into this.
Watertown lost longtime business Jane Irrigation. It closed mid-year, putting at least 50 people out of work.
The company has done a lot of good work in the community, was founded in this community, one of those we took great pride in, doing, shipping product all over the world.
If workers wanted to stay local, they found other manufacturers like Knowlton Technologies. Despite efforts to save it by federal lawmakers, a biomass plant on Fort Drum closed at the end of April, laying off dozens of employees and taking a toll on the local logging and trucking industry.
A lot of loggers and haulers that are impacted here, some of which will likely go out of business.
One North Country business continues to come back from the brink. After losing 85% of its business in 2019, frame manufacturer Timeless Frames is working on making a comeback with the help of a $250,000 loan.
We like to see local businesses, legacy businesses. They're the ones that are really committed to the community. Timeless Frames over the years have been very active.
What's ahead in 2024? In Messina, a hydrogen-producing facility could bring 90 full-time jobs. And near Watertown, a solar panel manufacturing plant is scheduled to break ground in the spring. Lexi Bruning, 7 News.
Now that Christmas is officially behind us, before you get to struggling with that tree and getting into your curb, 7 News reporter Thomas Caffarella lets us know tonight about some other purposes your Christmas tree can serve.
The season of giving is over, but you can still give back, starting with your tree.
We picked up probably 20 of them today so far.
In Lowville, the village picks up trees free of charge, chips them up, which could be used to make mulch. As village residents put trees at the curb, they need to double check to make sure there's no leftover lights or tinsel.
If there's stuff that's left on, we'll leave the tree there until they take the stuff off.
After all that hard work wrestling your tree outside, you want to make sure your tree gets picked up. In residential areas, you need to place it in the area between the road and the sidewalk.
That's just our normal protocol for when we're picking up brush and stuff like that. It's got to be out by the curb, not in the road. but by the curb so we can see them and stuff.
At Fort Drum, trees will get collected and put into the water.
They'll be bundled up and sunk to the bottom of some of our water bodies. The fish really love it for spawning habitat.
Both Loudville and Fort Drum officials say residents have about a month's time to make sure their used Christmas trees get recycled back into the environment. Thomas Caffarella, 7 News.
Jon Kubis back in the Weather Center with your full forecast when we return.
Now, tonight's weather.
Still dealing with rain, not for all, but for some. Let's check the maps and notice a good chunk of Jefferson County and also portions of Lewis County seeing the green. And notice it is all green because the temperatures are so mild. Really nothing going on in St. Lawrence County. Well, that'll be changing overnight tonight as all this precipitation kind of works on through. All right, actually, 3 areas of low pressure on this map. First one, plainly obvious, big spin of the atmosphere over towards St. Louis. Another one, less obvious, off the coast of the Carolinas, this forming low. It'll eventually intensify overnight tonight and tomorrow and slowly make its way up the coast, and that's going to drag in some much cooler air for the upcoming weekend. Third area of low pressure just off to our west over towards Buffalo, and that's why we're dealing with all the lift in the atmosphere and also the rain showers outside right now. Speaking of rain out at the airport, we're sitting at 48, winds from the east at about 5. Humidity right at 100%. Pressure is low, 2985, has been falling. It kind of makes sense with the low pressure just off to our west anyways. Futurecast a little bit overdone as far as any precipitation, but rest assured it will be raining on again and off again overnight tonight and also tomorrow morning as well. Does it rain all day tomorrow? I don't think so. We keep it rather mild and we keep it rather cloudy with periods of showers kind of moving on through during the day on Thursday. As far as overnight tonight, your lows in the 40s, a little bit cooler up north, 39 in the Bay. And also for you in Clayton, 43 in Philly, 45s in Rodman, and also in Adams as well. Lewis County overnight, more of the same for you, rather mild. Lows in the lower to mid 40s, 43 in Loudville, 42 Turn, with rain showers likely. St. Lawrence County, a bit cooler the further north one goes, 34 in Messina, 35 in Norfolk, 41 in Wanakena, and 40 in Governor. Heading out the door early tomorrow morning, temperatures in the mid 40s, a bit cooler up towards Waddington, Messina, Norwood, Norfolk, up there. And notice showers are likely. Winds from the northeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. All right, checking out the next couple of days. Bit of a cool down heading our way. It looks like on Friday, highs only around 40. Some rain, potentially a little bit of ice, maybe northern St. Lawrence County with cooler temperatures late Friday and Friday night. On Saturday, big cool down, highs around 34. The risk for some snow. Maybe some lake effect snow on Sunday coming off the end of the lake, highs around 32, and downright cold on Monday considering how warm it is. Highs in the upper 20s and mainly cloudy skies. Coming up next, Mel has sports. Stay tuned.
Now your North Country Sports.
Time for your Toyota Sports Report. Jefferson Community College, the site this week for the Holiday Jam Fest. The Coffeen Street campus hosting high school basketball on the hardwood. First up, St. Lawrence Central boys meeting South Lewis. Austin Mason with the basket, plus he is fouled on the play. Falcons answer. Noah Daly from the land of threes, all net. Austin Mason finds a lane to the basket for the layup. Mason Brown on the follow for 2 points. Noah Daly rings up another tray for the Falcons. Austin Mason finds room baseline for the bucket, plus he draws the foul. Noah Daly with the rebound and the bucket as he plays beat the clock. Larry's make a run. Austin Mason continuing to be a force down low. Logan LeMay takes it to the tin for 2. Damian Ashley on the drive lays it up and in. Chad Roberts stops the Larry's run with the short jumper. Jacob Evans in the paint for the basket. Final in overtime, St. Lawrence Central 54, South Lewis 48. Girls action at the Holiday Jam Fest. Harrisville against St. Lawrence Central. Violet Atkinson takes it to the hoop for 2. Haley Schmidt gets the friendly bounce for Harrisville. Jaylyn Fayette from beyond the arc, all net. Courtney Moreau showing good form at the foul line for St. Lawrence Central. St. Lawrence Central comes from behind to beat Harrisville in overtime, 48-38. Back to boys basketball, the 44th annual Berkman Classic at Canton, Saranac Lake against Governor. Zach McCarthy to Mick Deckenberger for the corner three, drawing the Red Storm within 5 points. Wildcats rain rumble to Jared Donaldson, who curls to the paint, drops in the floater. Caleb Platt to Donaldson, who scoops in another bucket. He scores 21. Will Ryuta kicks out to Drake DeSormo for the J. Wildcats go on a 23-7 tear in the third quarter. DeSormo tries the reverse layup, put back by Ashton Courier. McCarthy to Caleb Akey for two of his team best 18 points. But Governor behind 23 from Rumble defeats Saranac Lake 64-43. Second semifinal, Madrid-Waddington against Canton. From the tip, Canton's Ryan Jones to the glass for the opening lay-in. Jones again to the rack for two more, 4-0 Golden Bears. Jones to Ethan Francie for the bucket. Zadok Roiger on the putback extends the lead to 10-0. Francie to Roiger for the bank deposit. The Jackets' Jake Mayette to Colby Todd for the desperation three to beat the shot clock. Jones on the breakaway here. Todd to Cole Smith for another three. Canton races out to a 23-3 lead in the first quarter, then cruises past Madrid-Waddington 74-21. Tonight's local scoreboard's brought to you by DPAO, an organization benefiting those in need, celebrating its 50th year of bringing entertainment to the North Country, always looking for sponsorships for the new year. As we speak, work is underway for the 2024 schedule of events. Stay tuned for updates. Recapping all the local action, boys high school basketball, the Holiday Jam Fest at Jefferson Community College, St. Lawrence Central over South Lewis, East Syracuse Manoa tournament, Baldwinsville by 3 over Watertown, Canton tournament, Governor over Saranac Lake, Canton defeats Madrid-Waddington. Bishop Ludden Holiday Classic, Owego Appalachian over South Jefferson. Elsewhere on boys basketball courts, Marcellus, a winner over General Brown. It was Harrisville defeating Beekmantown, and Delaware Academy over Beaver River. Girls high school basketball, the Holiday Jam Fest at JCC, St. Lawrence Central over Harrisville. General Brown defeats Edwards Knox. Heuvelton tournament, Heuvelton a winner over Brushton Myra. The ESM Holiday Tournament, East Syracuse Manoa over Watertown. Elsewhere in girls high school hoops, Copenhagen defeats APW. Plattsburgh a winner over OFA. Saranac Central downs Malone. Boys high school hockey, the Alexandria Tournament. Potsdam doubles up on Ontario Bay. OFA a winner over the Islanders. Elsewhere, West Genesee defeats Messina. While high school hoops have taken over at JCC, the Cannoneer men are on holiday break. A time to check in on Coach Joe Vady's team. The Cannoneers finished the first semester with a 6-4 overall mark, 5-2 in conference play. A good first part of the season for Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how we're playing this year. We've been playing some really good competition. We played the number 7 team, Herkimer. We played the number 14 team in the country, Mohawk Valley. We played them really tough. We beat the number 12 team in the country, Genesee. And we're looking forward to the second semester.
The success coming despite a starting 5 that's been a work in progress.
Right. I don't think I've had the same lineup more than 2 games in a row, and it's been an injury fest this fall semester here for us.
As far as what the next semester holds?
Well, I think we can be really competitive in the region. We got a top 5 ranking the first time in a couple years in the first week of the poll in Region 3. Right now, we currently sit in second in the Mid-State Conference. We're 1 game out of first, so I think we can be really competitive and make a run at it in the spring semester.
The second half of the season gets underway at home on Wednesday, January 17th versus Corning. Well, a person with knowledge of the decision tells the Associated Press that the Denver Broncos are benching quarterback Russell Wilson for their game against the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday. Wilson will serve as a backup to Jarrett Stidham, spokesperson spoke to the AP on condition of anonymity because the team has not publicly addressed the situation. Coach Sean Payton was scheduled to meet with reporters later in the day. Well, that's it for now. We're going to stop, pay some bills. When we come back, Zach Grady will wrap things up.
For Jon Kubis and Mel Busler, we thank you again for joining us tonight. Emily and Beth are back in the morning for your morning news.